And there we have it, our ending slides. After so many hours. The Catan shard was transmuted into a new form, and the name was Nomos. Yay! Nomos won! Nice! I think that's an incredible, powerful ally for us. Possessing the power of an ancient being and nurtured by the rogue trader, the young star god watched over the Koronus Expanse, their new domain, with curiosity. Interesting that it's still referred to as a star god, despite just being a shard. I wonder if Nomos then could just incorporate other shards into themselves. Gathering his bleeding worlds together again, the rogue trader dared to build something more noble and civilized in the Expanse, a haven for those drifting and unprotected in the strict hierarchy of the Imperium. It would be an unbound frontier, where freedom and compassion were not wholly extinct. The iconoclast path. You probably could. I would think so too, because I mean, shards should be able to merge, right? The shackled monster under Von Valence's control ensured the survival of the fledgling utopia. Why are we calling Nomos a monster? The Star God destroyed all who threatened its peaceful civilians and instilled fear in those of little faith. The Expanse tasted the sweet fruit of freedom in torrents with reverent fear. I wonder if our iconoclast utopia would persevere without Nomos. I would guess not. So far it's the same ending. Really? I expected there to be differences due to you playing Dogmatic. The Imperium could not forgive such insolent deviation from the order prescribed by Holy Terror. Oh, really? You didn't mind your Inquisitor doing, well, basically not that different stuff. Anyway, the Von Valences dynasty was accused of the seditious formation of their own empire. An invasion fleet gathered in the Calixus sector, the lifespan of the young utopia was as short as its creators. What? Yikes. Protecting the young kingdom of freedom, Nomos created dimensional barriers that cut off the Koronus Expanse from the Imperium more soundly than the Great Rift. The humanity of the Expanse was left in isolation. Relying only on themselves, they either had to build something new and different from the Imperium, or fall to the horrors lurking in the darkness. I gotta say, I am confused that the text before ended with like, the lifespan was short. That kind of sounded like our Empire and us fell. Okay. Yeah, the Imperium came to congratulate me. Then see Nomos as we like kill him. Great. Yeah, I guess the Imperium also doesn't like iconoclast people. The ideals that Edward von Valencius was committed to were alien to the Imperium, but close to the hearts of many in the Expanse. Anyone who could not resolve a dispute, or who was denied justice, rushed to the palace of the rogue trader in search of mercy. Nice. Rumors and stories of his humanitarian role formed the foundation of the Valencian school of philosophy. Oh, nice. What a heretical idea! Actually caring for people, how dare we? It's a new philosophy. Empathy. The sect united commoners and aristocrats in the belief that for the Imperium to flourish, it should stop seeing its subjects as mere tools. Its dangerous heresy was denounced in many systems, but persecutions only hardened and multiplied its followers. Nice, we have our own cult. Having learned a bitter lesson on footfall, Insegna Chorda let go of her fanatical zeal. Relinquishing the reins of power, she secluded herself on a cloister world. The time of purges passed, and with it, the time of law and order. In the power vacuum that followed, the dark legacy of the abominable Aspice reared its ugly head, and Insegna's dominion gradually devolved into a nest of criminals and pirates. True, I guess Insegna didn't rule her dynasty for long, right? True, Chorda died in your Let's Play, you said that. Resisting the temptation. Oh, I'm really curious to see what happened with Caligus. And look at his portrait now this time in bigger. He looks quite mad. Look at those eyes, especially at the left, or, well, his right eye. From our view on the screen, the left eye. Resisting the temptations that besieged him, Calicus Winterscale returned to his domain and began to piece together the shattered remains of his protectorate. Until his dying day, his actions and thoughts were dedicated to saving abandoned worlds and protecting survivors. Nice, it also sounds pretty iconoclast. Alas, he was not able to achieve much in the time he was allotted. He breathed his last breath on the same throne that he refused to leave for decades, adamantly refusing automatics that would restore mobility and power to his legs. Oh. The cult of St. Drusus continued its indefatigable struggle to spread the faith across the expanse and expose the vile transgressions of the authorities. The stronger and wealthier a planet was, the less its rulers wanted to see the black-clad preachers. Riots and assassinations pushed the cult to the place where it felt most confident, the frontier. Interesting so far, no mention of Hieronymus' demise. After the death of Reverend Hieronymus de la Rosso, a man called Kaplane took over the leadership of the Drusian mission. It was actually quite cool, the one we met in the very beginning of Act 2, I think? With a weird funeral, remember? He had his name, but not his crimes or his piratical past. With the resolve of an experienced voidfarer, he steered the cult and even led his fellow believers on military expeditions against brigands, enforcing order and converting depraved captives to the faith. The Explorators. The deals struck by the Cognizance fleet and the Von Valensis dynasty replenished the Explorators' dwindling supplies and allowed them to re-embark on a rapid and unrelenting expansion campaign. With powerful bases established in the Expanse, the Omnissiah scouts bravely ventured forth toward unnamed stars with the same drive that propelled their ancestors to explore the Expanse itself. Magos Dominus Opticon 22 was sent to the forward scouting squadron of the fleet concave. The reason for this was the discovery of the support he secretly stored in his computing blocks for the discontinuing of the cycle. His ship disappeared without a trace in a research raid. Ooh. So I guess still looking for the remains of Amenot and his legacy. Poor Pasqal. The crisis in the Expanse dealt a serious blow to the business interests of the Fellowship of the Void. Having no powerful allies, they retreated into the darkness of frontier systems. The hard life they faced there forged them into a new tribe. Furious, wild, and willing to do anything for survival. They swore to return and retake what had once been theirs. The first command that Ryza issued after a miraculous rescue and footfall was the complete extermination of all worshippers of the Dark Gods among the Fellowship of the Void. Nice, cause we saw through her and redeemed her. The old pirate wanted to find another way for her people to survive. The former renegades hoped to live by the law, working as mercenaries and traders. When it seems they were finally on the path of peaceful life, the Imperial Navy conducted a flash raid and destroyed all their ships. Aww. Those who survived the bloodbath were publicly hanged. That's sad, but that feels very typical for 40k endings, right? Because I guess by purging all the Chaos followers, they lost quite a few people and quite a lot of power. Oh, nice. Oh, interesting, Alistair. For you, she stayed an illegal trader. I guess you didn't redeem her, right? Did you talk with her about, yeah, well, the Chaos she's worshipping? Also interesting that in your playthrough, Hieronymus was empowered and helped root out corrupted religious people in the ecclesiarchy. What was your main trader, Alistair? Caspelica. Violence throughout the Expanse put many on their guard, and as a result, the Caspelica's mission business declined. Soon, rumors surfaced among the coal traders about a so-called commission that made it through the Maw and into the Expanse. Their professed purpose was to audit assets and take measures to restructure operations. These words carried with them an ominous threat. Ladame Takora, as Liege of Footfall, survived 14 assassination attempts, Oh boy. And thwarted no less than 2,000 schemers before a shot finally took his life. The esteemed Leech's funeral was held in great secrecy, with only his closest entourage being permitted to view his corpse, which spawned some peculiar rumors. Tukara was cool. I am surprised because we also maxed out the Caspelica mission, like XP or reputation wise, and I think maybe the game just counts like your closest ally. A multitude of agreements bound the Imperial Navy to the Von Valences dynasty. Captains were eager to patrol the Protectorate, knowing they would be richly rewarded. Competing ships were lost to pirate attacks and subjected to harsh inspections. Many officers quietly entered the dynasty's service, receiving a salary and title exchange for their excellent skills. Oh, that sounds like they're close to us. More the admirals valued their new friends and enjoyed more gold on their uniforms. Chargist Captain Nosterius Thorfast founded the Thorfast and Companions Merchant Company, excelling in trade and acquiring a substantial escort crew. After 3 decades, he traveled to the Moor to return to the Imperium in hopes of obtaining the fabled warrant of trade. Oh, interesting, he also wants to become a rogue trader. It is not known how this venture ended. When the rogue trader's apostasy became apparent, the Imperial Navy fulfilled its duty and fought the Von Valences dynasty. The Battle of Dagonis ended in resounding defeat, and the surviving ships fled to distant systems. That is kind of weird. I thought in the first slide it said something about them liking us, and now they still fight us? Disheartened, but not broken, the captains vowed to rebuild their force and planned raids into the apostate territory. The crucial reason for the defeat was the extraordinarily high percentage of captains who betrayed their oaths and defected to the rogue trader's side. Aha! Overnight, he acquired a battle-ready fleet of his own. Nice! Very loyal navy. Well, to us, which is good. Dagonis grew and prospered until it became the capital of the Koronus Expanse. The planet was like a giant magnet whose pull held together the worlds of the Expanse, absorbing the treasures and vices of the sector. Seems like we and the Von Valences dynasty grow quite powerful. The ferocious and shameless nobility of the Expanse flocked to Dagonis in search of the forbidden pleasures. Its librariums harbored dangerous volumes, and its dark corners harbored dangerous people. The rule of law could not reach the tops of the spires, shrouded in a veil of sinister and mystical rumors. Really, Alistair? All your plans failed? How did you do that? Except the angry world of my capital. I would say Dagonis sounded really good. Kiava Gamma washed off the stain of its former defilement, but not the dark memory of it. The sacred halls were never silent, and production rates became the supreme law. The glory of the Imperium was forged in the blood and sweat of its toilers, and the millstones of the manufactorums ground the workers down by the thousands. That doesn't sound like Iconoclast. Even in death, the souls of the servants dared not step away from the machines. The enthroned Nal Caliph drew millions of pilgrims and granted the planet hallowed status. Its sacred calculation continued for centuries, and the foremost sages of the Adeptus Mechanicus traveled to the worlds so they could attempt to divine its meaning. Janus was conquered, the Xenos spirits were exorcised, and the wilderness was subdued. The fields grew until they covered the entire planet, and billions of tons of provisions were harvested there. Janus had become the breadbasket of the Expanse, and to threaten it would be to condemn millions to starvation. The nobility of the Expanse appreciated the idyllic conditions of the pearl-like paradise world. White castles rose above the agri-complexes, and their mud and the shining knights of Janus gifted the sector with many a hero who covered themselves in glory. I wonder what happened with our Eldari alliance. Despite grim expectations, the coexistence of humans and the Eldari did not lead to enmity. Janus had faced many trials, and the struggle against them brought the two peoples together. They did not develop an affection for one another, but they learned to speak with no weapons in their hands. More than one dangerous Xenophysed schism was born on Janus. I would say that sounds good. That sounds like maybe the first step toward like peace with the Eldari, or even like working together against the Drukhari, the Chaos forces. I mean, with more than enough enemies, right? Yeah, the Gamma was working normally, but was still corrupted. Genesis Spirit took over the planet except the Elder places. Oh, I wonder if maybe Janus is like failed when you don't work together with the Eldari. Could that be? The minds of Vierbus 6 grew deeper and deeper, and soon the planet became the darkest and most frightening colony of the Expanse, the final stop for the exiled and the damned. The brutal, hardened inhabitants of the Death World feared neither humans nor xeno-horrors, knew no mercy, and were known as the most fearsome fighters in the sector, who traded their lives for the right to leave the eternal darkness of the mines. Okay. Guarded, luxurious palaces were built under the climate domes, shrouded by clouds of poison. They housed so many powerful blackguards, persecuting aristocrats, and wealthy scoundrels that Vierbus 6 gained unimaginable political influence. Such grand and sinister deeds were done there that before long the grim Death World was spoken of as the new political center of the Expanse. I thought that was Koronus. No longer secluded and forlorn, Foulstone turned into the spiritual center of the Expanse, clad in gold and power. Rulers went there to be anointed for greatness, criminals for penance, and the righteous for encouragement, and there was no end to them in sight. Converted into a comet shrine, Foulstone's moon spread the word of St. Ignatius throughout the Expanse. Protecting worlds from attack by the enemies of humanity, its servants asked for neither money nor power, but only the relics left by their blessed patrons. The wise handed them over with reverence, while Haughty learned how heavy the hammer of Foulstone was. After recovering from Charles' regime, Footfall reclaimed its status as the trading hub of the Expanse. Having learned a bitter lesson, Dame Takora created Footfall's Petition's militia, a well-equipped mercenary army that answered only to him. A modicum of order returned to the station. Which is a modicum more of order than I expected. The changes of the Von Valensis dynasty brought to Footfall endured on the station long after. Nice. Poorhouses opened by the order of the rogue trader saved many hungry and homeless from death. Unfortunately, this disrupted the station's delicate ecosystem. No longer freezing to death in empty compartments or tormented by epidemics, those who lived in poverty in Footfall began to choke the station, leading to a sharp rise in crime. Organ traders, illegal or combatic specialists, and savage gangs of Anvers proliferated. I would have expected helping the poor would actually fight crime. Well, the Ricket system, oh yeah, the most glorious moment in this Let's Play. The Ricket system turned into purulent wounds of corruption, poisoning the Expanse. The surreal energies of the yawning warp legion held its planets together even in the absence of the gravitational pull of the stars, defying the very laws of existence. Immense depravity took root in Ricket Minoris, and it poured out into other systems with vile glee. If we had the option to destroy the planets, like before turning into a demon world or a chaos world, why can't we destroy it now? The people of Ricket Minoris saved by the rogue trader eventually found a new home. The colony of New Ricket was founded at the edge of the Von Valensis demesma. At least we saved the people, I guess. Memories of the adversity they suffered and of their fallen home filled the hearts of both commoners and nobles with hatred for the ruinous powers. That loathing fueled the building of a kingdom of intolerance and strict order on New Ricket. Proclaiming prayers to the Emperor, they kept vigilant watch for any signs of corruption in their home, surrounded colonies, and regularly embarking on purging campaigns in nearby colonies that resembled military invasions. Yep, I think this is something I learned. That was the wrong decision. With the fall of the unholy patron, the edge of daybreak, the cult of the Final Dawn perished as well. Every cell of the cult was hunted down and eliminated. Rumors that some worshippers of ruinous powers had managed to get away hiding the writings of the warp-banished lord under the ropes, were baseless. At least that. And oh boy, Oren really looks not that healthy. Left without a mission or leader, the World Bearers retreated to the depths of the Imperium. Their last act of vengeance was a bloody assault on footfall. The populace of several asteroids was exterminated or enslaved, and the statue of the God Emperor was badly damaged. Rumors of the rotting remains of an Eldari craft world spread around the Expanse. Explorators, privateers, Caspelica agents, and anyone hungry for easy money all rushed to frontier systems to vie for a piece of the prize. Some were swallowed by the warp, while others perished in skirmishes with their rivals. The most skilled and fortunate returned empty-handed after decades of searching. The colossal ship, as big as an Imperial world, simply vanished, as if it had never existed. But the legend of the Forbidden Treasure lived on and continued to bring daring souls to ruin. Yikes. Many planets can be cleansed, even ones with open warp gates and demons everywhere, but if a world is so far gone that it's essentially a rift into the warp, I imagine the exterminators option is pretty much the only policy worth pursuing. Yeah, I guess so. Half a century later, the Expanse trembles into the echo of the Eldari war songs. Yeah. What the Farsi has planned. Myriad warbands appeared out of nowhere, leaving a trail of bodies in their wake before disappearing into the webway gates, masterfully hidden from the eyes of Monkey. The children of Asuyan had come to avenge the death of the Kraftwerk Kururak. The war for retribution lasted many decades, until both races were war-worn and out of blood to spill. I really thought that Yrliet would help us with that. Janus was among the worlds hit by the savage retribution by the Xenos. But before the Great Slaughter could make the planet's irrigation canal run red with blood, the Fascia Muran emerged from the forest to address the Avengers. Having convinced his kin to stay their hand, he and his people departed Janus. Weird. Weird that the Eldari didn't attack you at all, Alistair. But I'm also confused by the last two slides, because this slide sounds like it was a very short attack, and I mean the one before that was like decades. The Spirit Monolith, purified by the Harlequin troop on the Crone World, was hidden from the insatiable eyes of Monkey by raging warp storms. Ships started going missing more frequently in the systems close to the planet. Even the most courageous captains gave the region a wide berth, and it was named the Damned Reefs. The Space Bermuda Triangle. I was more friendly with Yrliet than you, maybe. That was it. I don't know. I mean, I always helped Yrliet and I always approved. I would be surprised if I could have gotten more approval from her. And I mean, she also said that she would stop the other Eldari and try that, right? That confuses me a little. Somewhere on the underside of reality lay Komorra, woven from manifold other dimensions and illuminated as always with light of stolen suns, its streets ever filled with screams and agony. Any misfortune experienced by the Dark City became another scar on its appalling face, lost among thousands of other vile blemishes. As long as pain pulsed in its blood-soaked spires, the insatiable and unshakable Komorra continued its flight through the webway, along with its unchanging ruler, the leader of the Cabal of the Black Heart, and the most dangerous of all Drukhari, Astrobel Vect. Did you do Yrliet's spirit vision? No, I don't think so, but I don't think I got any quest or any offer for that. And I tried that. I tried to talk to her very often. After the Rogue Trader's visit, dimensional rifts opened around the spire of the Reaving Tempest, flooding the streets of Komorra with demons. This incursion terrified Komorra. The Cabal of the Black Heart managed to stop it, but some Archons saw the event as a sign of their leader's weakness. Others interpreted it as a grim moment for the entirety of the Dark City. Let's hope it's a grim moment for them. The fall of the Cabal of the Reeling Tempest united Pomora for a brief and bloody moment. The elites of the Dark City set their squabbles aside and found a new game in tearing apart the domains of Arcan Imares. The fate of the Reeling Tempest reminded the other Cabals that nothing lasts forever in the Dark City, save the city itself. Leaving the Necron systems behind, the Star God vengefully obliterated every tomb world on the ancient Xenorace. The old hatred of the Catan, betrayed by the Adeptus servants, whispered inside him. I mean, that's for the best, right? The voice of Voxmaster Vigitus Soriota of the Ptolemon dynasty is long resounded in the Expanse, bringing hope and trumpeting the arrival of the merciful rogue trader. Known for wisdom and acute understanding of ship systems, over her long life she taught many generations of future Voxmasters from the Ptolemon dynasty. Her body was built into the bridge itself, and in times of need, her voice flowed through the Vox, dispelling delusions and despair. So always on the dynasty's side. She was cool. Yeah, there's multiple times you can meditate with her and do spirit vision with her, maybe that was it. I never had that. I never had the option to meditate with Yrliet. I wonder if it's part of the... Romans? Thanks to the Lord Captain's influence, Idira and Vigitus became close once again, mending their sunlit friendship. Did we ever do anything regarding that? I don't think we even had the option. I mean, we didn't talk that much to Vigitus, I guess. But I'm confused. They were often seen talking as the card table over glasses of Amasak. The pale cheeks of the Voxmaster would brighten with colour after such encounters, a sight as rare as a void kraken. Enjoying those precious moments, the good friends tried not to dwell on how long either of them had left. Oh. I think that might be bugged, cause, well, as I said, we never had dialogue regarding that, but it sounds cute. And also, brightened cheeks, maybe like a little bit more than friendship. After years of dedicated service, Master Helmsman Raver was granted, despite his objections, the privilege of rest. The wise servants of the Omnissiah implanted an augment into his brain that restored his ability to sleep. Soon afterward, something unprecedented happened aboard the ship. The Master Helmsman overslept and missed the start of his watch. But his temper did become much more agreeable from then on. Hey, a little less grumpy, I guess. Many years later, High Factotum Generous Denrock sought permission to retire. He said that age had softened his heart, and that a more worthy, young, and assertive successor should take over his position. Oh no, a soft heart. Unacceptable for High Factotum. There was no shortage of candidates, and all that fat, Denrock had a sentimental heart. Whoa. He spared nothing for the orphans of those who had died serving the rogue trader. The children were given an excellent education and were eager to serve the von Valensis dynasty. Aww. Urban Dreistein cared more about preserving the influence of his line than the well-being of the Protectorate. His blind ambition lost him his governor's seat, yes, and the respect of his family. Within a few generations, one of the largest houses of Dagonis turned into an obscure family of petty aristocrats. Serves them right. I'm really happy to hear that. Toriana Gaprek missed the moment when her family, which had previously functioned like a well-oiled system, started to fall apart, wrecked by infighting. Among her distant relatives, many blamed Toriana for the Kiavagama disaster. Soon, the Gaprek family splintered into warring factions and spent centuries locked in a violent struggle only occasionally punctuated by futile attempts to reunite the house. I really hope the Soulbacks, have a similar fate, and the Vossarians are going to rise and become like a true one. Macarius Sourback was loyal to the rogue trader to the last, despite all the rumors to the contrary. Finding little affection among his subjects or family, he stayed true to himself, remaining a forthright, severe, and pious person. Macarius strived to ensure that every soul in his charge felt justifiable dread before both him and the God Emperor. Gods. Members of House Vossarian served the dynasty faithfully and loyally, amassing more and more power. A century later, they had finally gained the respect enjoyed by other noble houses. Yet, power and luxury can dull any blade. The now pampered and idle aristocrats were scarcely recognizable as the descendants of the formidable Seneschal Wazarian. Oh, they were so cool. I also really like his granddaughter, I forgot the name, but the one who gave us like the incredible contract we could do. And also our Chancellor. I'm still bad with name. Clemencia. Clemencia was the Chancellor. There we have it. I could also have just clicked. Clemencia Wazarian, daughter of Abelard and Chancellor of Dragonis, executed her duties irreproachably and even found time to school the younger generations of her family. He was an equally skilled mentor, chancellor, and political operative. After a century of immaculate service, she surprised everyone by leaving her position and becoming the first mate on a trade ship. Interesting. She would later admit, like a true Wazarian, that she had always had a passion for ships and voidfaring. Kinda similar to Abelard, I guess. I am confused how the Wazarians can like become pampered in like a century. Because I mean they all get like incredibly old. Like we just read that Clemencia is still alive and like after a century started doing like voidfaring stuff. Branches of House Gaprek and Wazarian become intertwined for a time of the marriage of Astartes. Oh, there was the smart one. And Vicent. To the great sadness of the couple and the great amusement of the spiteful Dragonis nobility, their marriage produced no children. Which is interesting. I would have imagined like in the 40th century millennium, not century, that they have like lots of options to help with that. Just like her ancestors, Astartes Wazarian Gaprek dedicated her life to service. Crushed by the events that shook the stability of his house and his inability to provide an heir, Vicent lived in his wife's shadow. When his time came, he passed away without notice. The Harlequin known as Nocturne of Oblivion visited the Expanse once again. Sneaking onto Dragonis, he came to the Rogue Trader's palace and left him a special gift. A case of Eldari crafting, unmistakably ancient and precious, adorned with the rune of an eye inside the triangle. Sounds like an Illuminati symbol. Only the Lord Captain knew what it contained. The Harlequin candidly warned him that he was drawing the Von Valensis dynasty into a deadly dance, a shaking doom, that all will freeze within the threats of Terra's loom. Then he promptly departed, and not without reason. A few hours later, assassins from the Dark City appeared following his trail, and were mercilessly killed. Their armor bore the sign of the Cabal of the Black Heart. Was the triangle with the eye their sim? I guess so. Ooh, so much ending slides. But so far, I think it's a pretty good ending, right? I mean, for most planets it sounds really good. For some of the factions it sounds nice. And I mean, we have a utopia. So I think that's pretty good. Let me just have a sip of tea. Ah, well. I gotta say, once again, it's sad that so few things of the main story were voiced like after Act 2, I think. And there were so many nice things which would have been really epic to voice, like the final confrontation of Kalkazar, like, I don't know, a bit about the Catan, or Nomos in the finale or something. Or also in Act 3, like in Komorra. That's kinda sad, because I think Wrath of the Righteous had it like distributed more nicely, right? At least my impression. I mean, for example, Erilu was almost always voiced. After months of searching, Dragonis wardens found the remains of Achilles' calendar on the lowest levels of the Hive. Drukhari artifacts and records discovered beside him indicated that the agent of the Inquisition had been compromised and was working for the Xenos. How surprising. The old Slith Malice did not risk returning to Komorra, but the cult of the Fatal Thirst was exacting vengeance on everyone who helped the Rogue Trader. He took to piracy, forming crew from the remnants of the Reaving Tempest. Rekindling his old thirst for battle, he seemed to shed a good 100 years of his age like a snakeskin. I am kinda surprised that Melis survived. The savage deeds that Corday's scatter of witness on Footfall traumatized him forever. His architectural genius was shattered. Only the rare collections of the true connoisseurs held his work, written in a shaky hand. Footfall, the ultimate void station, and mortuary. Oh, the archaeologist we met in Act 2, I think? But we didn't even, we got like no quests and never found anything regarding that, right? Oh. Having completed his last journey with his Lord Captain, Abelard was Wazarian, with the gracious permission of the rogue trader, left his post as Seneschal and took over the helm of his large family. Which is kinda sad. Would have been nice if Abelard stayed with us. As Wazarian rose above his rivals and was never again the target of persecution, even after the esteemed Patriarch died decades later in his bed surrounded by his grieving loved ones. Oh. I still think it's a good ending for him. Sister Argenta made no secret of the great respect and gratitude she felt toward the Lord Captain, yet duty compelled her to leave the Von Valencia's retinue. With the blessing of the Ecclesiarchy, she found a minor order of the Adeptus Sororitas, the Order of the One Star. Nice. United around the keeper of the sacred relic, its sisters protected the faithful from the dangers still lurking in the Expanse. The wider order and its courageous founder very quickly became heroes of legend, instilling hope and inspiration in the hearts of Terra's faithful children. Yet, the conflict between the Imperium and the head of the Von Valencia's dynasty, could not but affect the young order. Some sisters demanded that Argenta denounced her former commander. I hope she didn't do that. Unable to choose between the order she had created and the person without whom she could not have completed her journey, she stepped down from her position and went into exile. Aww. Despite everything, love for her among the people of the Expanse only grew. Argenta would be the heroine of songs and tales for centuries to come, a radiant angel who would appear in the darkest hours to protect innocence from the forces of darkness. Yeah, I guess due to the whole Normos thing, no matter if you're dogmatic or not. Quite cool. I also like, the portrait is different, right? With the new armor. I really like that armor design with the red and black. It looks really cool. Ah, my love. Heinrix von Kalox, the former interrogator of the Order Xenos, renounced the Holy Inquisition in the name of the one who had forever conquered his heart. A heretic and a traitor, Heinrix became his beloved Master of Whispers. Nice! I think he also would make a very good job at that. So that he could guard his life and his rest, and never leave his side again. Oh, I wished for a little bit more Heinrix Epilogue. Oh well. They will be happy together. In her journeys with the rogue trader, Cassia experienced all the hardships and delights of the galaxy. The invaluable experience and new knowledge helped her to finally conquer her fears and accept herself and her powers. Nice. It's sad that we can't keep her with us. The Lady Navigator became Novator of her house, tasked with addressing the consequences of Tissiphane's rule and the chaos that followed her disappearance. For the duration of her reign, she patiently worked on uniting the feuding branches of the house, forging alliances, and expanding the influence of House Ocellier. Oh, interesting, Alistair. For you, Heinrix became the new Lord Inquisitor. How was anything more you remember? The Starway Atlas, which contained the memories of Tisiphone and the Sethala clan, lost its power. Rightfully so. House Ocellier's navigators once again had to rely on skill alone in the depths of the Imperium. Many lost their lives, but those who survived the crisis became hardened veterans and pillars of the house. Most of those fortunate souls were young and brave, too few among them were old and wise. Oh. Idira Teles lived several more years of the Rogue Trader's grand campaign on Epitaph. Interesting that I think we usually just saw like a shorter, like a smaller part of the portrait. I like the pinkish glowing hand. Idira lived several more years of the Rogue Trader's grand campaign on Epitaph. Despite her short life, she left behind many legends and tales of adventures in the Lord Captain's service and of the terrible war phenomena that she manifested. Oh. But I guess she sounded like it was a good life for her. Right? Also nice that she's together with Vigitus again, even though I don't know why. In yours, Cassia obviously fixed her powers too, but she stayed with you for as long as possible as my open secret lover, ready to return, and we basically always wanted to see each other again. Aww. That also sounds pretty bittersweet. The journey of the Messiah of Discontinuing ended on the Arc Mechanicus Hermetico. With him, the atrocious schism birthed by the Armoner Collective ended as well. Abel Hunuman did not long outlive his tech comrade. He withered away in a cell, passing seemingly without cause, simply willing his vital functions to cease. Yrliet Lanevis lost faith in her kin who had followed the blind Farseers like obedient cattle. She accompanied the Rogue Trader for a time, but her time among the Monkey only made her feel more alone, revealing to her that humans were bereft of strong spirits and will as the children of a Soyan. She disappeared and reappeared again in the Expanse many years later as the leader of a fleet of Eldari corsairs, fearsome in battle and well versed in the tactics of the Imperium. Yeah, those are basically like Eldari pirates. I wish for a better ending for Yrliet, but apparently we missed those meditation scenes Alyssa was talking about. I wonder why. I wonder if it's a bug or... After joining the Stormbiters, Ulfar Thunderlung soon became the pack leader. Taking the place of Thorvald, who met an honorable end. The new leader sent a message to Fenris stating his intention to remain in the Expanse. There were too many enemies yet lurking in the hunting grounds that deserves the All-Father's wrath. Legend paved the formidable path in gold. Years later, Ulfar found a battle in which he could meet his honorable death, but the warp was suddenly torn asunder, and ships from Fenris bearing the mark of the wolf came to his aid. Okay. Saved from the battlefield by his loyal companion Halbrand, Ulfar accepted the honors of the Dreadnought and was entombed in sacred armor. During the blessed ritual, he cursed and demanded to be left to his death, but his brothers merely answered with mirthful laughter. When he recovered his senses, Ulfar led his forces to the heathen stars. The All-Father had given him a new mission in the near-death vision. No one in the Expanse has heard word from the Space Wolves since their departure, yet many believe that one day they will return victorious. So for you, Yrliet stayed with you for 80 years as your friend and advisor. Oh, that sounds way better. Pasqal became a low-tech priest to hide basically, and Ulfar became a dreadnought for me too. Such was the echo of the deeds of the rogue trader of House von Valencius. Deeds that transformed the Koronus Expanse and prepared it for events even darker and more violent. But those are the events of a different story. This one has come to an end. Interesting that we don't see anything about Jai, because I mean we saw things about what happened to Pasqal, right? The end. Yeah. I like the ending. I didn't expect it. I think it's a good... It seems like a good mix of some nice things and some nice things, but still maintaining the usual grimdark atmosphere and outlook of 40k, right? Wait, is Jai dead? I mean, we let Jai go, right? But that's why I'm surprised that we don't see anything for her. Yeah, I would say overall was an amazing experience. I loved getting into 40k, which this game got me into. It even got me to talk way more about 40k with friends and colleagues at work. So yeah, really had an impact on me. I hope it had that on you too. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And yeah, you enjoyed all those hours, all those streams. I mean, it is today the 14th of April. It's been 4 months and 10 days we streamed this. So yeah, incredible. I loved it. I hope you did as well. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for commenting, for chatting, for talking about the game. If you're on YouTube, for liking, subscribing, following, whatever. Thanks for all of that. It was an amazing journey with all of you. And yeah, thanks so much for being there. Also, special thanks to anyone who supports me either by cheering and subscriptions or memberships. It's very kind of you. Thanks so much for that. Really much appreciated. And yeah, let's see if I'm going to play some 40k things in the future, some other things. But yeah, for the time being, the next thing we're going to do is Dragon Age Origins. And as usual, if you want to talk about the game, we can do that. Also answering to the chat in a few seconds. And if you're on YouTube, leave comments so we can talk about the game, and endings and decisions would be awesome. Jai basically became a very rich near-rogue trader. Nice. And went with Idira on a trip for 80 years until Idira died, then she came back. Also interesting, Alistair, that for you, Idira and Jai become such good friends. Also nice ending. And yeah, we talked with Jai when she we told us the secrets. I think the High Factotum told us, and had the talk, and she repeatedly lied, and at one point Edward was like, just go. I can't trust you, you're still lying to me, you're still withholding truth and intentions. I can't work with you in the retinue. That was the reason why we got rid of her. Yeah. It is a good ending in the Grimdark universe. Absolutely, I would say so too. And hi Luna, nice to see you, how are you? Welcome to the ending of the game. Yeah, and with that, I'm going to close this chapter, and I already said everything. I still hope you enjoyed it, and if you're watching this on YouTube, until next time. If you're watching this on Twitch, we are continuing with another game.